Karl, what advice would you give to someone who wanted to save a bit of money?
Don't spend it all on booze.
How much money do you have, Karl?
Enough. Nobody likes spending money. It's just something we do to periodically pay for food and sometimes buy an Xbox game. But Daniel Dancer didn't just hate spending money. He was so tight-fisted he could basically strangle the shit out of a diamond swan.
So go on, tell me all about this miserable dipshit.
Well, funnily enough, he wasn't always like a miserly asshole who hated spending money. It's reported that he only became an asshole in 1736 after his father passed away and left him about 80 acres of pristine farmland, after which point he decided, fuck spending money, save money all day, yeah. It's reported that after that day, Daniel Dancer basically stopped spending any money whatsoever. He fired all his farmhands, stopped feeding all the animals, and basically became a social recluse.
So I'm assuming that his farm fell into ruin.
Actually, no, the profits for his farm increased tenfold immediately after Daniel Dancer implemented these new measures.
How?
Well, his farm only grew hay, which required so little maintenance, the idea of paying people to tend to it was completely unnecessary. So, yes, Daniel Dancer became even richer after he realised being a dickhead boss and not paying his staff would help him make more money.
So much moolah.
Now you think with all this extra cheddar on hand, Daniel Dancer would have, spent some of it on himself, but no, he continued to live a life of abject poverty, barely spending enough to buy himself the most basic of necessities.
Like what kind of necessities?
Well, he never bought a towel, so he only washed in summer, because then, rather than drying himself with a towel, he could just walk around naked and let the sun dry him. Also, he didn't have a bath or a shower or anything like that, so he only washed by swimming in his neighbour's pond.
All the way through the autumn, winter months, he just stunk up the house.
Oh yeah, well, he lived there, along with his sister, who was also as much of a miser as him, so she probably didn't mind the smell.
So Daniel Dancer, saving money, etc. This is all well and good. At what point does he start punching dogs?
Oh, right, yeah, I should probably talk about that. Well, as you can imagine from a guy who didn't spend a lot of money, he wasn't one to splash out on food, so the only thing he would eat would be a big batch of dumplings that he'd make at the beginning of every week, and he'd ration them out and have like one per day. And what he would do is he would season these with whatever he could find lying around his estate. So the only time he would break this self-imposed vegetarianism is if he found dogs.
He didn't eat the dogs, did he?
Oh no, he didn't eat the dogs. What he'd do is he'd beat them up and steal the bones out of their mouths and then use that to make like a thin stock that he would use to make the dumplings taste better. Also as well, sometimes he'd find like dead animals on the floor and he'd use those as well. And I think there's a story about one time he found a dead sheep and he was so excited he used the sheep to make a dozen pies, that he was so paranoid about being stolen, he carried them all around a giant lockbox that he would periodically open and get one pie out, take one bite and put it back in the box. I should probably point out as well, like, Daniel Dancer didn't give a shit about how rotten meat was when he found it. If it was on the floor, it was fair game. This guy is great. I love him. He's my hero.
No, he's not. He's a weirdo.
Yes, he is. He's a big, huge weirdo, but you've got to admit, the image of a guy fist fighting a dog for a bone, that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong. As if fighting dogs for his dinner wasn't bad enough, Daniel Dancer would also limit himself to buying a single shirt per year, which he would wear until it literally fell apart, accessorising it with various pieces of material he found lying around his farm that he strapped to his hands and feet. Does this mean that Daniel Dancer walked around with his dong flopping out? No pictures of him from below the waist exists, so I'm going to say that he did.
So he never bought any clothes, just that one shirt?
Well, there's always an exception to the rule. For Daniel Dancer, it was when his sister, who, if you remember, shared his miserly ways, passed away, and for her funeral he bought himself a single pair of black stockings, which he of course bought second-hand. Since Dancer lived in a time before banks were commonplace, he hid most of his wealth at Bowie's estate, which, combined with his advanced age and assumed mental shortcomings, made thieves think he'd be an easy target. Dancer wasn't an easy target.
So come on, Karl, there's obviously a story here.
Yes, there is. One evening, thieves, assuming Daniel Dancer will be an easy target, attempted to break into his house, and rather than finding him asleep like they'd thought, they found him fully alert and waiting for them.
Why was he waiting for them?
Because he was paranoid about having people steal his shit, obviously with good reason. And in anticipation of that, he'd actually nailed his front door shut many years earlier and only got into his house via a secret ladder, which evidently the thieves had found and used to climb in, alerting Daniel Dancer to their presence.
So what happened to the thieves?
Nobody knows. All we know for sure, though, is that only a few made it out alive.
Oh, good God.
That's something straight out of a Saw movie, that, innit? That's like that film Don't Breathe, where they break into like an old man's, oh man, this guy's like old as fuck, he's never going to be able to find us. And he turns out to be like some super huge badass man who fucking wrecks everyone, who's Beast Pimp Dog.
What are you gonna do now, huh?
But think about it, right? This is a man who lived off dumplings. Like,
No, dumplings and the bones he managed to wrestle from dogs. Also, he climbed into his second story every night and he harvested all the hay in his field single-handedly on his own every year. Now, this is probably one buff old man. Like, this is like one buff-ass old man and people think, oh, he's going to be an easy target. And they break in, and I'm imagining, they break in and Daniel Dance's just there completely naked, swole as fuck, and like, oh no.
I'm picturing Master Roshi.
He's powered by the anger. I want to be like, what would be the line there? So it's like, oh, it'd be like the Rorschach line, wouldn't it? Like, you think you're trapped in here with me. You think I'm trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me.
None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
That's it! You're locked in here with me!
Because that is probably one of the most brutal, like, beatdowns in cinema history. We can all agree, can't we? Also, what was that guy thinking? Let's just break that down for a moment, because I'm not going to get a chance to talk about it again. Rorschach, a guy everybody knows, single-handedly nearly beat up 30 police officers on his own, gets sent to jail. And people in jail think, okay, Rorschach's here because 30 people took him down. And one guy walks up to him, a guy he knows probably the best hand-to-hand combatant in the entire world, and gives him a full 5 seconds warning that he's going to try and stab him.
Hey, you're pretty famous, right? I'm pretty famous too. You know, maybe I can give you an autograph, huh?
Next to probably the most amount of weapons that could possibly exist in the world. And he gets fried. 30 police officers couldn't take him down when he was wearing a vision obscuring mask at night, but I can take him down in the middle of the day when he's fully alert, and I'm going to give him 5 seconds of warning.
It's the same thing that happens in Hancock.
Oh yeah,
When he gets put in jail and they all come and like, oh, we're going to beat you up.
Yeah,
It's
now-
like, you know who the fuck he is.
Now he's in jail, obviously his superpowers don't work. The fact that he had to willingly walk through the prison wall.
And then he even gives them a warning. I'm
tells-
going to put your head up your ass. And they still attack him.
Y'all fellas sure you want to ride this train?
Shoot you, asshole.
I love like the overconfidence of criminals like that. It's like, what are they thinking? It's like that scene from Austin Powers, isn't it? It's like, do you have any idea how many faceless henchmen I've taken down? Look at you. You're not even wearing a fucking name tag. What chance do you stand?
And look at you, you haven't even got a name tag. You've got no chance. Why don't you just fall down? Go on, son.
That's what I imagine Daniel Dancer doing. It's like, look at you fuckers here. None of you have even got any interesting quirks about you. You are going to be footnotes in my life story. Get the fuck out.
So some of these guys got away from Daniel Dancer.
Yes, they escaped with their lives, but not much else, because Daniel Dancer hid his fortune so well that these thieves who broke in couldn't actually find any of it. And they only, basically, all they did was get their shit wrecked by this old-ass man, escape basically by the skin of their teeth with their lives, and then spend the rest of it looking over their shoulder, always expecting Daniel Dancer's there.
No matter where they are on the planet.
You know he would. He's like one of those guys that like you owe a tenner to, and no matter where you go, every time you like just sit down, you get a Facebook message, have you got a tenner, mate? He'd be that guy. He'd be that guy who you go out for drinks one night and you're like, oh, fuck's sake, I've only got like 20 quid on me. Can you just get me a drink? It's, oh yeah. And then for the rest of the evening, it's like, mate, can you get me that drink back? Yeah, sure. Mate, you're gonna get that drink back? It's like, yeah, I will. I'm trying to enjoy my night, but mate, you're gonna get that drink back. It's like, you know what? I'm not gonna be your friend anymore. The value of this drink is not worth your friendship. Goodbye. FYI, I'm that friend. Where's my tenner? I'm not.
So throughout his entire life, did he spend money on anything?
As far as I'm aware, the only thing Daniel Dancer ever spent money on was a pet dog he owned called Bob, which he would often give treats. And that's about it. So there's probably people watching now thinking, oh wow, that really humanises Daniel Dancer. No, it doesn't. He was still a huge asshole. Because on one occasion, Bob mauled a neighbour's sheep, presumably because he was hungry as fuck, because Daniel Dancer only fed him occasionally. And Dancer responded by not paying for the damage that he did to the sheep, but filing down all of Bob's teeth and stopping feeding him.
What an asshole.
Yeah, as if it wasn't given away by the fact he murdered thieves and punched dogs for food. Just to really sell how much of a dickhead this guy was. So yeah, he may have loved Bob, but he loved not paying for the damage Bob caused even more. As you can imagine, Daniel Dancer's habit of eating rotten food and not spending any money on himself eventually caught up with him, and he died at the tender age of... Wait, what is it again?
78.
78. Fucking hell, he lived to 78. Gee, there must be something about this being an arsehole thing that we're not getting. Fuck it. What a depressing ending. Bollocks. Daniel Dancer, go fuck yourself.
So Karl, at some point you must have had a really shit boss.
Not as bad as Daniel Dancer was, but I did have a proper penny pinching boss when I worked at the restaurant. So I had a couple of bosses when I worked there, and there was just one of them who was just super, super arsey about any money being spent whatsoever. And no matter how many times I tried to explain to them, look, it's okay to let staff have a pint at the end of a shift. You can say that pint can be sold to a customer for £4. Realistically, it costs this company nothing, and what it does is it makes that member of staff feel like part of a team and makes them want to work a little bit harder the next time they come in, because they feel like they're being appreciated for the work they do. By being on their arse all the time, all you're doing is making sure they do the bare minimum when they turn up. And I had this big, giant running thing with that boss about using my goddamn fucking phone. Because obviously, everyone has their phone on them at all times. No one does. And I never pulled it out on a shift, but if there's no one in the restaurant, I'd put it there and charge it. And I remember had it charging on the side, and while I'd served a customer, and I noticed it had a message, so I clicked it and turned the screen off. And my boss went, "Give me that phone." Bearing in mind, there were 40 customers at the bar. I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Give me that phone." I said, "No. It's my phone. I would like to go back to serving customers now. Don't talk to me like that. You're embarrassing me in front of these customers." Well, you're embarrassing me and you're making the company look bad. I want to go back to serving these customers. Thank you very much. It's give me your phone. I went, okay. And I picked it up will you sign an agreement saying you are fully responsible for this phone? This phone is worth £300. Will you sign an agreement saying you are responsible for it? No. I'll put it in the safe and you get it at the end of a shift. Will you sign an agreement saying you are fully responsible for this phone? No. But give me your phone. No, I'm not giving you it. I'll put it in my pocket. Well, okay, you can go home. Because Karl, you've been I saw you look at it. That's wasting money. It's more than we've wasted now. It's go home. So okay then, I'll go home. And I was one of the only two people on the bar. It's okay, yeah. That argument for them to save their fucking ego because people were watching probably cost them £100 or so that night because they didn't have as many people working on the bar. People just went fucking home. And they used to do that all the goddamn time. And I remember having the meeting with my other boss the next day. "Karl, I need your version of what went down." I went, "Oh, okay then." That person, who I won't name, was a prick. "This is an official report, Karl. I can't write that." "Oh, can I write it then?" They handed me the form and I filled in, "So-and-so was being a prick." And I told them to F off. "Are you sure you want this on your official report?" "Yeah, go on then. What's the worst that can happen?" And nothing ever came of it.
No repercussions at all?
No, because I was a good worker and that person was being a prick. And that person used to give away free drinks all the fucking time, so I just mentioned that. So I just said, "Oh, it's funny how they're always on their phone. Oh, I'm a manager, I can do that." Well, technically you're not. You're a team leader. And you're supposed to lead by example. And how am I supposed to follow your example if you won't follow your own rules? And they fucking hated that. And then the manager above them went, "Well, he's got a point. You should put your phone in the safe." And I don't put my phone in the safe. Because why would you expect Karl to do it? It was great. That was such a good week for me. I had so much fun. So I remember coming in, saying, "Karl, is your phone in your pocket?" I went, "Yeah, it is." Because you have to give it to me. I went, "No, I'm not. Because I'll go home." I was watching Breaking Bad at the time. "Do you want me to go?" I was the only member of staff on. "You can send me home if you want, or I can stay here. And you can let me do my job." Oh, man. I was such a prick. Never hire me. Never hire me, folks.